Welcome back to the Save the Good Girl podcast. I'm your host, Erica, and today we are going to talk about siblings, your sister, your brother, people who are like your sisters, people who are like your brothers, and how important it is to understand the relationship and dynamics of sibling love, sibling rivalry, and why it's so important to develop a relationship with your siblings, as annoying as they are. Annoying as they are. Let's talk about it. We will get back to this fabulous episode, but I just wanted to let you know that you can find Save the Good Girl on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and YouTube. There is also a chance for you to be featured on the show. Check out the link in the description to send me a voice message. In addition to the podcast, did you know that Save the Good Girl has a blog? Be a part of VIP by subscribing to the email list on savethegoodgirl.com. So many options to stay connected. All right, let's get back to the episode. If you have a sister, have a brother, have someone who is like a sister or who is like a brother to you, I wanted to spend time in this episode to talk about the importance of developing or continuing or sustaining your relationship with your siblings, because I think that there's a lot of information about friendships and relationships and also the relationship within yourself. And first of all, let me just say, the relationship within yourself is the catalyst to every relationship in your life, right? So whether it's with your sister, your brother, your boyfriend, your coworkers, whatever, like taking care of you starts first, because your attitude, your energy, the way you are, and when you do your work, when they say do your work, that means your emotional work too, right? Like taking care of yourself, taking note of all the things that you need to work on, your relationships will improve because your communication and your understanding will improve as well. And that will help very much your relationships with your siblings if you don't really have one with them, or if you would like to develop a better one with your siblings. And the thing is this, right? Like, it is very important that we take the time to acknowledge the relationship with our siblings and see where we are with our siblings. Do we have a good relationship? Is it a relationship that's a passerby? Like, hey, how you doing? Good. Talk here and there, but not really intentional. Like, oh, I should call my sister today. Like, oh, I should call my brother today. Do you have a strong relationship with your sister and brother? Like, are you guys really good, which is awesome? Or are you kind of like, nah, I don't talk to them at all, right? And here's the thing, family issues are real. Family drama is also very real. There's a lot of circumstances where people don't talk to their siblings because of deeper issues that has nothing that's deeper than a quick fix. But this is where I'm going to start to kind of challenge it a bit, right? There needs to be a relationship or conversation of some sort. A lot of the issues that we have with people would be resolved if a conversation was in place. A lot of issues that we have with our siblings would be resolved if we were at a very mature place to talk about it. Why am I saying mature? Because it is very challenging to have a meaningful conversation if you're petty. It is very challenging to have a meaningful conversation if you're holding on to things that happened 10 years ago when you were kids. It is very challenging to have a meaningful conversation when you're selfish. It is very, it's going to be challenging. So those things cannot be in place. And having a relationship with your siblings is just as important with the relationship with your spouse, your friends, and your parents. It's just as important. And I wanted to highlight that it's really vital to develop a relationship or sustain what you currently have. And if you don't have one at all, I would challenge you to try to create one. Try. If it doesn't work, at least you tried. The way that I look at things with people is this: I'm always going to put an effort out there. However, I get to a place where I'm like, okay, I can say that I've exhausted all measures. Like, I've tried, I've put myself out there, because when, like I talked about in another SOE episode, that growth is not universal. And I keep saying that because sometimes when you say something to someone, it may not hit them right away. It may take a year, 2 years, 3 or 4, or even 5 to 10 years before they get it, because Growth is something that you need to participate in. You need to collaborate with your growth. We get taller, we grow, etc. physically, but growth emotionally requires your participation. And if you're not willing to participate, growth is not going to force you. So you need to come to that level in that place where you're like, yeah, I'm ready to grow. I'm definitely ready to grow. I'm ready to do this. And when you get to that place, you'll start to notice that the way you react, the way you think, the way you are will change. And sometimes we need to challenge and confront people. And there may be a situation that you have had with your siblings that may not be the best. And it's time to get to that place of saying and challenging and saying, listen, I really want to work on this relationship. And here's the problem that I have. The main issue is that nobody likes confrontation. And I can understand why, but it's necessary and it's needed. Your siblings and developing a relationship is vital to your emotional health as well. And I don't think people look at it like that, but it is. And here's why. I have two siblings, my sister Valerie, my brother Clifford. And this episode, because I'm talking about siblings, is dedicated to them. I'm dedicating this episode to them because I truly love my siblings to the core of me. And I'm the oldest. My sister Valerie is the middle child, and my brother Clifford is the baby. And I'm not going to lie and say that we've always had this loving relationship. Me and my sister would argue like cats and dogs all the time because she's 3 years younger than me. She would wear my clothes. We would have arguments about trivial things like, you did this, you did that, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, like just going crazy. And I think it got to a place where we would argue a lot. And I remember a few years ago, like I didn't talk to her for like the whole summer. And I think after that, that really affected my sister. I don't even remember what we argued about now, but I think it's because my sister just had this attitude. And I'm like, girl, right? But then I would have an attitude too. So I'm not going to put it all on you, Valerie. Okay. I had an attitude with you too. But I will say that as we've gotten older and the way that I looked at life was different, I really wanted to develop a relationship with her. So what I would do, being the oldest, was I had to challenge myself. And it would start by saying, hey, do you want to come with me to get lunch? Do you want to come with me to get dinner? Do you want to go to the store with me? I started to involve her more. And to be honest, the reason why I never involved my sister a lot when I was hanging out with my friends when I was younger was because we argued so much and I didn't want her to embarrass me in front of my friends. So I'm like, I'm not inviting you, you know? And then she would have her friends and I'm just like, whatever. You know, sometimes we would have good moments and sometimes we don't. I mean, we're two different personalities. I'm definitely not alpha female. And, you know, she's a bit shyer than I am, but we would clash. And it's like, as we got older, I really wanted to develop a stronger relationship with her, strategize with her, and help her and push her. And I think sometimes in me pushing her, it would make her upset because I would challenge her. And I don't care because I want to challenge you. So you could be mad at me all you want. My intentions are pure. And it'll be the same thing with my brother. You know, I would also challenge him, have conversations with him, talk to him, you know, be mad at him as well. Because again, siblings, that's what we do. We get mad at each other. But one thing I will say is that I'm very grateful for the growth in all of us because I will say that we do have a relationship where I can go to the store with my sister. I can go to the park with her. I can have dinner with her and it's not awkward. And I wouldn't be able to say that when we were like in our teen years almost because we would argue so much. Like 1 week will be great, the next week will be off. And I love my siblings. I love my sister so much. And I value you, Valerie, for everything you've done. Your growth is amazing. And I'm so excited for all the things you're about to do. And I need you to know that me being tough on you, me being annoying, quote unquote, me pushing you is to challenge you to get to your best. I don't want you to be good. I don't want you to be okay. I want you to be at your best. And I'm going to continue to push you. I'm going to continue to be annoying because that's my expectation. That's what I want from you. And of course, you've always been there for me. You always have supported me. Like even with this podcast and when I just didn't want to do it, my sister's like, you're the bomb. Like you have to do that. Like, you know, you've always been a cheerleader for me. And I appreciate you for being there in that way. I appreciate you for checking me when I need to be checked. And I appreciate you for just always being my cheerleader, always having my back, you know, being so protective over me and allowing yourself to heal for us to get closer. I appreciate you taking steps to changing certain things within yourself, because I think you doing that really changed our relationship. So I love you and I appreciate you for that. And for my brother Cliff, you're 21, you're in college, and this is going to be a new adventure for you. There's a lot for you to learn, and rejection is real and it's scary. I was also indecisive in college. I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. But what I will say, Cliff, is that I also acknowledge your growth and I also want you to get to your best. And I don't want you to give up. I want you to keep going. And I want you to remember that you will always have me as a resource if you know how to use me, right? You will always have me as a resource. I love you. You're an amazing boy. You're so handsome. You have the most beautiful smile, the most beautiful skin, the most beautiful face. You're just so cute. You're so cute. He is so cute though. My brother's so cute. And I'm so grateful to be your sister. And as the oldest for the both of you, like, we are the lifeline. When you have siblings, you guys are the legacy holders to your parents. You are the legacy holders to the bloodline. And it's vital that we have unity, that we spend time with each other. And whether you're the oldest, the middle child, or the baby, if you notice that there is a little bit of a glitch in your relationship with your siblings, I'm going to challenge you to challenge that. And it doesn't have to be anything that's crazy. It's the most simple things, as calling more often, asking them how they really are doing, asking them how they feel about something, because you want your siblings to be able to come to you for anything, right? And it's like, I have amazing friends. Like, I do have an amazing group of people in my life. I will say that. But I love the fact that during some rough times, my siblings, we have come together. And it wasn't easy. It was not always like that either. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't like I had this amazing relationship and I'm like, oh my God, like, me and my sisters are besties and me and my brother is the best. Like, it was not like that. But I think that, developing a relationship with yourself is vital, because you will understand people differently when you understand yourself. You become more patient, you become more observant, and you learn to listen a little differently. It's like your listening skills have been like cleared. It's like cleaning your ears and you feel like, oh, wow, I can hear. And when you're with your siblings and you're with other people and you're good, that helps the relationship as well. But simple things like really being vulnerable with your siblings, because being the oldest, sometimes your siblings might think you're the best, you do everything the right way. And it's like, oh, you're the best person ever. I am not afraid to let people know my faults, because I don't want it to ever come across like I'm as perfect. Even in this podcast, I have said many times, like, I'm not perfect. I've made some pretty fucking huge mistakes. And throughout the course of the show, you will know them. So I don't claim to be perfect in any shape or form. And I have to share that with them. You have to share those things with your siblings. You need to let them know about your shortcomings, the things that you've learned, and lessons, right? Like, you want to pass those things down. And if you don't have that relationship, create it, start it, call more, decide to have a dinner, have a lunch, have something that's going to really push it together versus letting it be and letting it fall down the wayside. You really want to make sure that you're intentional with your time. So we talked about the process of why it's so important for us to develop a relationship and keep that going. But what happens when it's like really, really bad, like the rivalries and the nastiness and the grittiness of this relationship with your siblings? Like, let's talk about that. We know that sometimes the sibling rivalries are real, right? They are real, because sometimes people may say things that they just, like, you'll never forget it because that's how hurtful it is, or people have done things that you'll never forget because that's how hurtful it is. And it hurts even more when it's your sister, when it's your brother, because whether we want to admit it or not, we have a higher expectation when it comes to our siblings. And I think rightfully so. Like, you're my sister, you're my brother. Why would you do X, Y, and Z to me? Right. I feel like sibling rivalries happen when we're younger. Some people have really great relationships with their siblings from, childhood. Some do not. And unfortunately, it grows when you have the rivalry that's really bad. Unfortunately, it grows into something very heavy. And as you start to get older, you just never shook it off. And I could be wrong here, but I feel like someone didn't grow in that process. Like someone wasn't able to forgive or either challenge a conversation, or someone did not have an open door. There's a disconnect there. And I think when you have a rivalry that has been that bad between you and your siblings, you got to identify, what is the rivalry really for? Like, what happened? We know that there's thousands of reasons why people fall out. They stole from me, they did this to me, I mean, that's like a whole other podcast of the amount of things that people have done to people, the betrayal, the fact that you feel like you couldn't be yourself, the judgment, the jealousy. It's a lot of different things that can come about, a lot. What I'll say is this: if there's a possibility to have a conversation, maybe you're not going to be best friends. Maybe you're not going to, I guess, like really have that relationship like that. But I think that there's something that needs to be said for a conversation that can happen. If a conversation can happen, I think it should. If you're able to have someone sit down and talk to you where you can let out how you feel, I think you should, especially when it comes to sibling rivalries. But here's the thing: if you're not willing to hear them out, and you're going to go there on defense, and you're going to go there with anger and heat, if you're not going to go there with patience and understanding, it's not going to work, right? It's not going to work. You also have to understand that your siblings have grown up too. And they don't always have the same mindset like they used to when they were younger. We know that people like, oh, you've been the same, oh, you act the same. There's certain personality traits that are embedded in us. Yeah, we know that. But I realize that when it comes to siblings, there's a lot of jealousy, and there's a lot of they want to be involved. And as much as the siblings may not show it, they want to be involved. They want to know that that they are important to you, whether it's your brother, whether it's your sister, somebody who's like your brother, somebody who's like your sister. They want to be involved. And so when someone does not feel involved, they don't feel included, they don't feel wanted, they don't feel like they're a part of you. And will they ever share that with you? No, because that's your sister, that's your brother. They're not going to tell you that. But they do want to be involved because, to be honest, they may look up to you, whether younger, middle, or older. They may look up to you. There's certain things about you that they do like and they wish they had. And sometimes, when it comes to siblings, jealousy is real, especially if one person is progressing and the other person isn't. So instead of talking about it and saying, hey, like, can you help me out? It's anger, it's jealousy, it's attitude, it's issues, it's arguments. It's like, whoa, like, whoa. But here's what I'm going to say. Inner peace, right? This all kind of coincides. Like having inner peace, forgiveness, and maturing really, really will help you, I guess, confiscate all of those emotions that you have for your siblings, reveal them in a way that's cohesive and clean. And what I mean by that is you're able to gather everything because your mind is at a different place. And I think that when you have had a really, really bad sibling rivalry to the point where you guys don't talk anymore, and in the event that you want to change it, you have to change the way you approach the situation because you guys are not at the best place anyway. You have to think about what you're going to say. It cannot be just she did this to me, I'm going to talk to her right now. No, because then you're full of anger, you're hot, and I need you to be cool. I need you to be in Iceland. That's where I need you to be, super, super cold. And not cold in a negative way, but cold as in you're calm, you're cool, you're zen. I need you to be prepared that when you do have this conversation, change will not be immediate. It will take time. I need you to understand that people have to process as well. So when you decide to bring something to the table, don't expect it to be like, oh, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. You're going to get some pushback because people have to defend themselves. They have to defend their emotions. So be prepared for that. Sibling rivalries are real. The main thing is like when you have a sibling rivalry for 10 years and it's like we're only getting older and we still do not get along, and we're only getting older and it's like I haven't talked to you in like 4 months to a year to 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and it's like, whoa, I have not spoken to my sibling. And I think it's a relationship that should be a priority for many reasons, because your siblings, again, you guys are the lifeline. You're the lifeline to the legacy of the family. You are in sync in a way that no one else can be, whether you guys are blood related or not, right? Once somebody is your sister or a brother to you, that's the title and that's that, because you have to earn that, right? So it's like for the situations that are just there's nothing you can do. You feel like, nope, like we don't have a relationship. This person has done something to me that is just unforgivable. Okay. Know your emotional capacity, leave it at that. But for those that have a relationship that can be mended, for those that have a relationship that can be discussed, that we can really sit down, have a conversation and rectify it, I strongly suggest that you do. I strongly suggest that you make your priority to your siblings, a big thing. I think that when it comes to romantic relationships, people will go through hell for your man, hell for your girlfriend. I mean, people put up with so much shit. And I find it quite interesting that when it comes to your relationship with a friend, when it comes to a relationship with your sibling, you won't even put half the work you put for this romantic relationship. And that's disturbing to me. you know, it's disturbing. And I understand the whole, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love. Give your sibling the same fucking respect, yo. Because there could always be another boyfriend, another husband, or another girlfriend, or another wife. You have one sibling. That's it. Or two, or whoever. How many siblings you have? Three, five, six, whatever, right? But your relationship, sweetie, is replaceable today. This man or woman could love you, and then at 2 weeks later, oh my God, he's cheating on me. Oh my gosh, it's the worst relationship ever. Your family will remain, right? So I'm speaking to the people that have a relationship that's not, it's there's no intention behind it. And I think that you should call your siblings more. I think that you should get to know your siblings. Like, you'll be surprised of all the things they have in common or what you can learn from each other, because we're not good at everything. We only use 10% of our brain for a reason, and that's because we need to rely on other people. That's the reason why I feel that God only let us use 10% of our brains, because we need other people. You will never be good at everything, ever. My sister is a more handier girl than I am. I'm not a handy girl. I'm strategy, I'm business. That's where I am. My sister is super handy. She's very smart when it comes to putting things together, fixing the cars and all that. She's great. She's phenomenal. Not me. I'll tell you that right now. So there's certain things that she can learn from me, but there's a lot of things I can learn from her. There's a lot of things I can learn from my brother. And that's the thing. Be humble. Be humble. Don't think your profession or how many years of experience you have, don't let that belittle the help that you can gain from your own siblings. I don't care how old they are. If you choose to, if you're a real student of life, you will always find a lesson from everything and from everyone that you encounter. But that's some deep level, shit. So if you're an intellectual like me, you'll find a lesson in everything. You'll really listen to people. So I understand the sibling rivalries. I get that. I do. I understand that it can get really, really bad. But what I will say, I will tell you to challenge yourself. I will tell you that if you are in a relationship or if you have dated someone, think about how hard you went for them. Think about, the the solutions you wanted for them. Think about that. Think about what you've done for love. and utilize that as your platform to do the same thing for your siblings. They deserve the same amount of effort and the same amount of time. I love my siblings. I will argue with them. I'm doing this episode, and guess what? Next week we may have another argument. But what I will tell you is this: I'm not gonna let an extended amount of time go by where we don't speak and we don't have a conversation. It's vital to talk it out. It's vital to get to know what they like and then do it, or do what you like. Get creative. We're at that place where creativity is real. You know, I don't know if my sister is into like mask and all of that. Okay, we could do a mask together. We can go to the park together. Let's go get candles together. I don't know. Whatever it is works for you. I invite my sister and my brother. Like, we a couple of weeks ago, it was really, really nice here in New York. And I just want to shout out to all of my international listeners. Hi, I'm so excited you guys are listening. I see you. And I'm so happy to have you guys a part of the STGG family. So, hi, my international listeners. Hey. So in New York a couple of weeks ago, it was really, really nice. And my sister and my brother, it was nice. And we were hungry. And I was like, all right, let's go grab lunch. Let's go to the park and let's eat. And it was awesome. It was awesome to be at the park. We got our food. We're eating. We're joking. We're laughing. It was beautiful weather. We walked around a bit, looked at the water. And I told you I'm corny. So I'm like, what are you grateful for? They're like, oh my gosh. But, for us to have that conversation and really talk. And again, sometimes you have to force that. And what I will say is that if you're at a place where your sibling rivalry is really that bad, but you think that it can be repaired, I need you to be the mechanic. Okay. I need you to diagnose the issue. I need you to get the parts and I need you to fix it. I need you to fix it because your relationship with your siblings is important. And I want us to have that same energy we have for work, that same energy we have for our spouse and love. We need to give that same love and energy and respect to our siblings. And far too often, I'm noticing and I see that when it comes to certain relationships, from what I'm seeing, the sibling relationship is almost near the bottom and it should never be. Your siblings are the extended lifeline to your family bloodline, okay? Or just the lifeline of you. They will support you in a different way that others can't. And if you don't have that support from your sibling and you wish you had it, here's what I will say to that: let it out and let it be. Say how you feel. Give examples because sometimes when people talk, they need examples. Say how you feel. Give some examples of how this person was a detractor. They did not inspire or motivate you. You did not feel supported in X, Y, and Z. And then from there, let it be. Because growth is not universal. You may say something today to your sibling and it doesn't hit them until a year later after they've done therapy. It doesn't hit them until a year later after something else happened in their lives. So be patient. But what I will say is to let it out. Let it out. For those that's really, really bad, let it out. Say your piece. Come to peace with you. How do you feel about it? When you think about your siblings, what happens to your body? Are you breathing really heavily? Are you annoyed? Are you yelling all the time? Do you need extended support? Do you need to go to therapy? Do you need to talk to a friend? Do you need to write about it? What do you need to do to get yourself at a place where you can communicate what you need well with them? What do you need? Let's start there. Once you figure out what you need, you diagnose it, be the mechanic, say how you feel, and that's it. If you're not ready for that whole interactive experience, don't do it yet. That's okay. But start the conversation. Let it out and give them the opportunity to come when they're ready. Have an open door policy. Let your siblings know how much you care about them and how much what they did affected you. And for those who have a shaky relationship where it's not that severe, but you feel like it could be better because there's some sense of like awkwardness, I would suggest to spend time with each other. Having these phone conversations and seeing each other in passing is not enough. Be intentional with it. Don't make it awkward. Just say, hey, what are you doing today? Let's hang out, me and you. And at first, if you've never done that before, it's going to be awkward. But you should do that. Hey, let's hang out, me and you. Hey, let's get our nails done, me and you. That's what I did. And it worked. And then for those who do have a great relationship, but you argue sometimes, that's normal. Don't let an argument stop you, though. Continue to have that relationship, continue to hang out, continue to share, continue to be vulnerable. All in all, again, I know sibling rivalries. I know where it could be. I know how it could be, and I know how bad it could be. And I've seen people, even in their 50s and 60s, they still don't fuck with each other like that, because of whatever, right? So if you're in that space, the biggest thing is to communicate how you feel with your siblings, and let it go from there. And if you have the opportunity to spend time, please do. Time is limited. I did an episode about valuing time. Definitely take a listen, because life is not, nobody promised you tomorrow, right? Like, we don't have a promise for our expiration date ever. So value the people while they are here. Be intentional to make time for your siblings. Like, oh, we need to hang out the same way you do it for your friends and the same way that you do it for your man. So we have to just make it intentional. And, it's like, okay, so how do we make it intentional? Like, okay, so let's say, for example, we had the conversation. What happens next? What do we do now? Like, what should we do? And how can we be? And how do we continue this? And how do we have an everlasting relationship with our siblings? Let's talk about it. So let's assume, because we're going to be positive, right? Save the good girl. We're going to be realistic, but we're going to be positive. But let's say that we've had a conversation. And how do we keep it going? Like, what do we do now? How do we be intentional? Being intentional when it comes to repairing a relationship means following up. It means that, yeah, you had the conversation and that's awesome. Love it. Love it. However, do you really think that's all it takes, is having a conversation? No, that's the start. There's an upkeep. So we're going to keep the whole, metaphorically speaking, about the car thing. I want you to be the mechanic to diagnose the problem. I want you to find the parts within yourself that you need to fix, and maybe, that you need to kind of, I guess, adjust a bit, tweak it a bit, fill your car up, then go and have this conversation if you need to. You need to be able to be strong enough to be confrontational to do that. But what happens with the vehicle, though, right? There needs to be maintenance. You need to continue to get an oil change. You got to get your car checked. There could be an issue with your tires fucked up. So what are you going to do? You got to go back to the mechanic and fix it, AKA always go back within yourself to see, okay, self-assessment. Where am I? What am I going to do? Being intentional means that after you've had this conversation, this is a part of your life again. And what do I mean is that when you're always used to just passing by your siblings and just kind of seeing them here and there, you come to the house here and there, you see them, you guys talk here and there, but it's like, oh, whatever. It's like, it's breezy, right? And then, are you going to have arguments, disagreements? Yes, you are. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. However, you have to show your sibling, and they need to show you as well, that this is something we both want. And sometimes people feel like they're not a planner, they're not the ones to do things, but they'll still participate. And you have to kind of take heed to that and then let them know how you feel. Be intentional with your timing is also like setting aside time for them. We have a lot of goals and dreams. We want to be entrepreneurs. We want to, grow within our professions and get promoted and etc. Build relationships, build ourselves. There's a lot of things that we got to do, but you don't want to forget spending time with your siblings. You want to be intentional with that, even if it's like something like, all right, every Friday, or for example, let's say there's a show that you and your sibling just so happen to both like. Maybe saying, hey, let's watch it together and then let's talk about it. Saying, hey, let's hang out. Or maybe you don't live in the same state as your sibling. So you could say, hey, once a month, once every 2 months, or once a quarter, we're going to do a trip where we can hang out with each other. I don't know what that work may seem or feel like for you. You can set FaceTime dates. You can, share things with them so that they can share things with you. Whatever it is, you need to be intentional with it, and don't wait for something to just happen in order for it to happen. And being patient. So even though you've had the conversation with them, you let them know how you feel, be patient. Your sibling is not going to change right away. Remember that we are growing up. We are working on our growth. We're working on our maturity. Okay. They're not going to change right away, and neither are you. You got to get adjusted to this new relationship type of thing. It's literally like being in a new relationship all over again after you have rediscovered yourself and they have rediscovered themselves. So it's just really taking the opportunity to just be present with your siblings, make time for them, be intentional, start the conversation, but then keep it going. Like, don't have a conversation and that's it. And say, I'm done. Okay. Well, I spoke to you and that's that. What are we going to do to really nourish our relationship now? Like, are we going to talk more? Are we going to hang out more? Are we gonna try? Are you still mad at me? Like, did I do something? Like, go deeper. If your sibling is mad at you and you don't know why, go deeper. Like, really try to find out what it is. I promise you'll get to the source. And sometimes it may not be as big as you think. It's something simple that maybe you said 10 years ago and it still has affected them to this day. And they need to give you the opportunity to apologize, or they may need to apologize to you. Either way, value your siblings. I truly believe that it's important to spend time with them. I truly believe it's important to give them that shine. Your siblings are super vital, super important to your emotional health as well. This is a relationship that is a part of you. It's a part of you. They are important to you. And like I said, we've talked about some strategies, whether you have a very close relationship with them, slightly close, or none at all. And again, it all starts with having a conversation. But like I said earlier, this episode is dedicated to my sister, who I love very, very much. And again, I am proud of you, Valerie. I'm proud of your growth. And I'm so happy that you're my sister. I'm so happy that our relationship has gotten better. I'm happy that I was able to challenge you and you were able to challenge me as well. And our arguments, we have them here and there, but they are minimal. And I'm happy for the development of you and I can't wait for us to progress as sisters. And I love you. And like, don't be annoying and be like, oh, don't ever say that again, because she gets mad weird when I tell her that I love her. Mad weird. And I love you, my brother Cliffy. I really want you to understand too that I want the best for you, and I'm going to continue to support you and push you, and I'll be there for you for anything that you need, my brother. You are not by yourself. You have so much potential. You're so smart. You're so patient. You're so dedicated. When you want to be, let's just be real. Okay. But I know you have the capabilities to be, and I love you very much. And I would say for all of you listening out there, really take the time to get there with your siblings, and, really just be appreciative of the fact that you can, because there's many people who wish they could do that with their siblings and they cannot. So take the time to be intentional. Take the time to put them on your calendar if necessary. Have that conversation, hang out with them, and just truly enjoy them as your siblings, and enjoy them more importantly as people. Yes, siblings. Oh, sibling love. Isn't it so nice and lovely? Sorry, I go into accents sometimes. You guys haven't heard that yet, but it comes out. I really hope that you found value in this episode, and I hope that it challenged you to look at your relationship with your siblings and see where you are and where you could be, because life is always changing and there's always room for improvement if you want to improve. And, whenever you want change, you have to collaborate with that change, right? It's not going to just happen. And when it comes to your siblings and the relationships there, I really hope that you're able to do that, because it's very, very important that we give them that much attention. And, oh, sorry. Excuse me. Bless me. Ooh, that was a big sneeze. But thank you again for coming back and checking in with Save the Good Girl. I love talking to you guys, and I so appreciate your support in listening. And if you did find value in this episode and it made you challenge yourself with your relationship with your siblings, and you really enjoyed it, I would love for you to share it with others so that we can all have better relationships with our siblings, because as annoying and like crazy as they are, it is important for us to come together. And I cannot wait to talk to you guys again next week. Thanks again for listening to Save the Good Girl. I am your host, Erica, and I will talk to you guys next week, because I got more topics to say. Mad more. Bye. I feel like we're connecting, so let's make sure we're connected. You can find Save the Good Girl on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. Did you know about the Save the Good Girl blog? Yes, there is a blog. Check out SaveTheGoodGirl.com to subscribe to the fabulous VIP email list and be the first to know about new podcast episodes, new blog posts, and giveaways. In addition to listening to Save the Good Girl on many platforms like Apple, Google, Spotify, and many more, you can also subscribe to the Save the Good Girl YouTube channel if YouTube is more of your thing. There are so many options to stay connected and be a part of the Save the Good Girl community. For all updates, or if you just want to contact me to say hello, ask me a question, or send me a comment, check out the contact section on SaveTheGoodGirl.com.